Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas with Pastor Harley Wheeler from the Minerva Area Food Pantry Council. All right, let's get back to who are we serving? Who is your clientele, Harley?
Our clientele consists of about 700 households in a 5 to 7 mile radius of the Minerva, Ohio community that will see us at least once during the year. About half of those households have children in them. About 25% of those households are senior citizens. And so you find that, what you call these people are food insecure. They either have got to a point where they're making a choice between buying food and paying for their utilities, or buying food and paying rent, buying food, paying for medical care or car repair. We generally find people come, most people come, say 3 to 5 times a year. In other words, they're coming when they need it.
Right.
They're not just coming every time. You have some people that are available most times. That there's food being offered at the 4 different sites, but these are probably people you'd call long-term need.
Yeah.
They're on disability. I've heard stories of $800 a month Social Security checks, which wouldn't go very far.
No.
So that these people will be in line for. We don't mind. They need to come. Yeah.
That's right. And is it a once a week service? Is it a once a month service? Is it open all the time and you just come whenever you need? How does that work?
Well, that's where we found we needed to communicate, because the Food Pantry Council can serve the Minerva area really well, and we do so by having 4 different sites offerings. The first Tuesday of the month at the community building in Minerva is a dinner, actually a free dinner, to which about 60 to 100 people show up every month.
Nice.
For that one dinner. And the True North Church at that time has food parcels for distribution to take home. It's something like a 3-day supply of food. Then you come to the second Thursday. It's at my church, produce distribution, and it's gone well beyond produce. There's all sorts of things to take home there. It's lovely that people will say, "I got so much," and then through the month one can call on the Salvation Army for we encourage people, if it's an emergency, take groceries home type visit. It's to do that once a month, and then in the 4th Friday of the month, it's Minerva Area Community Outreach at St. Paul's, where you don't even have to get out of your car. They line you up in the parking lot and get your information and load it right in the trunk.
That is awesome, because with the 4 of you working together, then rather than a once a month thing here, there, or anywhere, it is once a week, and everyone knows which location is serving at that particular week. Yeah. You mentioned seniors. Certainly there might be some who are having difficulty as far as getting somewhere. Is there a way to take things to them?
Yes, there is, and it was one of our seniors that was the star in doing that in our area, and we are over the average for senior citizens served when you compare with area pantries, because we will deliver, and it is seniors that have that difficulty. And from the community outreach at St. Paul's and the Minerva United Methodist Church, on distribution day, we're doing 50 parcels somewhere around the community. I think St. Paul's does about 60. But I mentioned a senior because our first volunteer every month was Mr. Carl Felger, and Minerva people know Carl Felger, and he would bring his truck, and Carl would drive, and I would ride, and we would run up to people's houses, get their forms signed, and drop off the food. Now Carl at this time was 93. 92, 93. When he finally got to be 94, we had to say, "Carl, people are going to be commenting that you're driving at the deliveries." So he was an A1 best guy and lets me drive the truck.
So he still goes along. He rides shotgun.
He's at home now and lets me borrow his truck.
Awesome.
But what a guy.
What a guy. Hats off to you, Carl.
Yeah.
That people like that make it happen, don't they? I'm always amazed, even with the Meals on Wheels, at the number of senior citizens who are doing the volunteering to deliver the meals to other senior citizens. Well, you're talking about 700 households. How many people is that? Do we know?
We're running, I am wanting to say that's... I'm saying it's at least 2,000 people.
How many you're meals? Feeding once a week,
Yeah, well, we'll see 700 households over a year's time, and not all of them every month. But,
That's correct. That's right. You did mention that. Okay. You have some goals. One of them, because you are the produce king, but also to have some good meat, some good fresh meat available. You're looking for a really large freezer.
Exactly.
Yes? Let's address that.
Okay.
What do you need?
To address that would be, we identified that there's a need for healthy food, and meat protein is a big part of that. It is hard to get meat at a food pantry as generally. The Akron-Canton Regional Food Bank will get us meat at a really good price. The idea is you need to get it off of their hands, out of their warehouse, and into your own storage within a limited amount of time. So we have addressed it's been our vision for many years to address the freezer storage problem, and so we have put in a 10 by 10 freezer. In addition to the cooler and freezer that we already had, we want to expand that another 10 by 10 freezer cooler, and we feel that will get us where we have all the storage. You can put Thanksgiving turkeys in there when you want to get them stored ahead, and then plenty for the distributions. So we are asking our community where it's going to be a $14,000 purchase, and this is the first time we've come to the community for something like a capital need.
Okay, 14 of you could each pledge $1,000. That would be doable, and this would be taken care of.
That was what Susie said. Yeah,
140 of you could easily do 100. So this can happen. Are you having a fundraiser, or is it just an appeal?
Right now, it is just an appeal. Minerva is a wonderful community.
Yes, it is.
You could stop somebody in Minerva on the street and say, listen, I have a great idea for this community. This would make this community a lot better place. And that person will listen to you. Now, if your idea is no good, well, then that doesn't help. But that in Minerva is a place where you can get that idea out there, and so we're just now getting the word out, because the first half of it's installed. We can declare victory over that. We've been very blessed with our support, and this is the time we're asking people.
Absolutely. Is there a website, or how can someone contribute?
You would want to send contributions to Minerva Area Community Outreach at St. Paul's, and that's 515 East Line Street, Minerva. And their telephone number is 868-4981.
Let's repeat all of that, because people are scrambling to grab a pencil, and we don't want to rush ahead. So tell us again, how do we contribute?
For the freezer at Minerva Area Community Outreach at St. Paul's, 515 East Line Street in Minerva, 44657. And the phone number there is 868-4981. You can reach me, Pastor Harley, and ask me any of these questions, and my office number is 330-868-4940.
Let's say that one more time.
330-868-4940.
Something that's amazing, I'm looking at some information you handed me. 74% of the pantry programs are run completely by volunteers. Something else, somebody listening is saying, oh, man, I want to help with this. This is wonderful. How can people volunteer?
Absolutely. At the two major distributions, on the second Thursday at the Minerva United Methodist Church, and on the fourth Friday at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Minerva. Those mornings we use volunteers. People show up and say they're ready to help. Even if we've never met them before, we can get you oriented very quickly.
What kinds of things would we be asked to do?
Well, there would be a big bin of zucchini or carrots, and you need to bag that up into the sort of size parcels a person might want to take through.
Okay.
Also, we're a client choice pantry, so that means the clients are coming through and saying, well, I'd like some of that, and I'd like some of that, and I really no point in taking that one home, but could I maybe have some more of that? And so you go around with that person and then go load it in their car and bless them and tell them to have a wonderful day. So there's loading in cars, there's some delivery, and working in the food building itself.
Okay, the choice part is very important, because we have to think about allergies and things like that when you're talking about food pantries. It's different when a person can step in, and there's a dignity involved too. When a person can come in and choose what they want. Can you address that a little bit?
Yeah, so you since these are my people, I don't want people to feel like they're getting charity or that their dignity is being respected. And I realize sometimes food pantries have things they don't need. I tried to move a number 10 can of prunes to some people, and I wasn't getting a lot of takers.
Yes.
And so, yeah, they're allowed to come through, and the idea is, yes, this is what I need, and there isn't any purpose to having that. You need to try to keep the wait time down so that it's really no longer than what it takes to go in the grocery store and to pick out a few things and go home.
As believers, why is it so important for us to be involved in projects such as this?
Yeah. Well, the mission statement at Minerva United Methodist Church we adopted about the food outreach was how we provide bread for ourselves is a material question. Whether our neighbor has bread is a spiritual matter.
Wow.
And so, we are commanded to take care of the widows and orphans in their distress. We're encouraged to, divest ourselves of goods we don't need and give to the poor. And Jesus set that example of reaching out to everybody in their hurting situations. And so this also brings the church together to realize that it has a gift. A church usually has buildings. It has volunteers. It has the time to do this, and you want to help people, and this is a way to help them out of a crisis situation. If you don't have food, you have to do something. Usually, it's a more expensive choice. If people have food on the table, they can figure some other life issues out, and that's where we want to come alongside them too. Yeah.
And just once again, what has it meant to combine with the other 3 pantries, where more of us does better than each of us?
Well, we put our heads together and we come up with better things. I would be amiss if I didn't mention that out of the Food Pantry Council meeting, we instituted that Children's Weekend Backpack Program, which
nice.
Brings food, sends food home with school children on Friday. And in a lot of these homes, it is hard for children to get access to good and healthy food. This is easy to prepare food. An elementary school child could get it fixed themselves, and they're sent home every Friday with enough food to really get them through the weekend. And that rose from beginning with about 60, 70 children. At the beginning of 2016, we are serving 300 children in that area. And because the school system has cooperated with us, and the church and these agencies, my church and the other churches, have come together to see that happens. Most of the work is being done at a True North church because it's such wonderful work they could hardly bear to get away from doing it. But we're all in there to help them.
Pastor Harley Wheeler from Minerva Area Food Pantry Council, thank you so much for what you're doing in our community.